Look, I don't care if you believe me or not. I'm done keeping this to myself. What happened in Seattle last month, what I found in that laboratory, it's gonna haunt me until the day I die. And honestly, that day might come sooner than I think. My name's Marcus Webb, and up until 3 weeks ago, I was a research assistant at the Pacific Northwest Seismological Institute. Notice I said was yeah, I don't work there anymore. Can't work there anymore. Hell, I can't even drive past that building without my hands shaking so bad. I gotta pull over. It started on October 3rd. Dr. Sarah Chen, the lead geologist on our team, called an emergency meeting at 11 p.m. Now Sarah wasn't the type to get rattled. This woman had spent 6 months in Antarctica studying ice core, had been through 2 major earthquakes in Chile, and I'd never seen her flinch. But that night, her voice on the phone was different, hollow, like she'd seen something that broke something fundamental inside her. When I got to the lab, the whole team was there. Me, Sarah, Dr. Ron Patterson, and 2 grad students, Julia and David. We all looked like hell, dragged out of bed, confused as all get out. Sarah was standing at the head of the conference table, and spread out in front of her was this map. But calling it a map doesn't do it justice. It was old, like really old. The paper was this weird yellowish-brown color, and it smelled like dust and something else I couldn't quite place. Something metallic. The map showed Seattle, but not the Seattle we knew. The streets were different, the coastline was off, and there were these symbols scattered all over it. Strange. Spiraling symbols that seemed to move when you weren't looking directly at them. Where'd you find this? Ron asked, pushing his glasses up his nose. Sarah didn't answer right away. She just kept staring at the map like it might bite her. Finally, she said the construction crew working on the new light rail extension, they found it buried in a metal box 15 feet underground. The box was sealed with some kind of resin we've never seen before. They brought it to us because of what's written on the back. She flipped the map over, and my blood went cold. There in perfect English, written in this spidery handwriting, were the words, Seattle Disaster Map, compiled 1847. Updated through 2025. That's impossible, Julia whispered. Seattle wasn't even incorporated until 1869. I know, Sarah said, but look at this. She pointed to a spot on the map, marked with a red X, and one of those weird spiraling symbols. Next to it was a date, February 28, 2001, 10:54 a.m. Below that, written in tiny letters, Nisqually. 68. The room went dead silent. The Nisqually earthquake. February 28, 2001. At 10:54 a.m., magnitude 68. Every single detail was correct. Coincidence? Ron said, but his voice cracked. Sarah shook her head and pointed to another X. June 13, 1965, magnitude 6.5. Then another April 29, 1965, 67. She kept going, her finger moving across the map. April 13, 1949, 71. Every major earthquake that had hit Seattle in the last century was marked on this map with the exact date, time, and magnitude. A map supposedly made in 1847. Okay, so someone's messing with us. David said, trying to sound brave but failing miserably. Someone made a fake historical map and the paper's been carbon dated. Sarah interrupted twice by 2 independent labs. It's from 1847, plus or minus 5 years. The ink matches chemical compositions from that era. The metal box is even older. This thing is real, and I don't know how, but it's real. That's when I noticed something that made my stomach drop. There were more X's on the map. Lots more, and they had dates next to them to future dates. The closest one was marked for October 15th, just 12 days away. The location was right in the heart of downtown Seattle, near Pike Place Market. The notation next to it didn't say earthquake though, it said subsidence event. 347 casualties subsidence? I asked, like a sinkhole. Sarah nodded slowly. That's what it appears to indicate. But here is the thing that's really freaking me out. She pulled out her tablet and showed us a report 3 days ago. The city engineer's office flagged concerns about the underground tour area near the market Old Seattle, the part of the city that burned down in 1889 and got built over. They've detected unusual settling in the ground. They're planning to do a full structural survey, but it's scheduled for October 20th, 5 days after the map says it's gonna collapse. Julia whispered. We all stood there staring at this impossible thing, a map that predicted the future, a map that knew things it had no business knowing. We need to tell someone, I said. The mayor, the police, somebody. If this thing is right, we've got 12 days to evacuate that area. Tell them what Ron shot back, that we found a magic map that predicts disasters. They'll laugh us out of the room and probably fire us for wasting their time. Hayes right, Sarah said quietly. We need proof. We need to verify this thing works. That's when David, the poor dumb kid, said the words that doomed us all. There's another mark, October 6th. That's 3 days from now. We all leaned in. The location was in Ballard, a neighborhood north of downtown. The notation read structural failure, Gilman Apartments, 3 casualties. Sarah immediately pulled up property records. The Gilman Apartments were a 4-story building built in 1962, 42 units. Currently under review for code violations, 3 days. She said if nothing happens, we know the map's a hoax. If something does happen. She didn't need to finish that sentence. Those 3 days were the longest of my life. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. I kept thinking about those 3 people the map said were gonna die. Should we warn them how, hey, a magic map from 1847 says your building's gonna collapse, you might want to leave? Yeah, right. October 6th came. I called in sick to work. I couldn't. I just sat in my apartment, glued to my phone, refreshing the news every 30 seconds. At 2:47 p.m., my phone exploded with notifications breaking: partial building collapse in Ballard. Multiple casualties reported. The Gilman Apartments, the western wall had collapsed. Without warning, initial reports said at least 3 people were dead, trapped in the rubble. 3 casualties, exactly what the map predicted. I threw up right there in my living room. I just threw up. My phone rang. It was Sarah. Get to the lab now. When I got there, the whole team was already assembled, plus 2 people I didn't recognize. Sarah introduced them as Dr. Helen Voss, a historian from the University of Washington, and Detective James Kowalski from Seattle PD. We're making this official, Sarah said. We have 2 that map predicted the Ballard collapse down to the exact casualty count. We can't ignore the Pike Place prediction. Dr. Voss was examining the map with white gloves, her face pale. This shouldn't exist, she kept muttering. This absolutely shouldn't exist. Detective Kowalski was more practical. Can you tell me everything that's supposed to happen on October 15th? Sarah pointed to the marking subsidence event downtown near Pike Place Market. 347 casualties, no time given. 347, Kowalski repeated. That's specific. Everything on this map is specific, Sarah said. Every earthquake, every disaster it's predicted, has been accurate down to the decimal point. On the magnitude scale, we have 9 days to evacuate that area. But here is where things got weird. Well, weirder. Dr. Voss found something on the very edge of the map, almost too faint to read, was a line of text. She needed a magnifying glass and special lighting to make it out, but once she did, her hands started shaking. What? Sarah asked. What does it say? Voss's voice was barely a whisper. It says, observation ends when the map is found. After discovery, causality fractures, the observer becomes the observed. What the hell does that mean? Ron demanded. I think Voss swallowed hard. I think it means the map was accurate as long as nobody knew about it. But now that we've found it, now that we know what it says, we're changing the future just by knowing about it, Julia finished. Detective Kowalski shook his head. With all due respect, that's some sci-fi nonsense. We've got a credible threat to public safety in taking this to the chief. He did, and that's when everything went to hell. The police evacuated a 6-block radius around Pike Place Market. The mayor held a press conference. The story went national. Mysterious map predicts Seattle disaster was the headline everywhere. Thousands of people cleared out of the area, and October 15th came and went. Nothing happened. No sinkhole, no subsidence, no collapse, nothing. The backlash was immediate and brutal. The mayor was furious. The police department looked like idiots. Sarah was fired. The rest of us were put on administrative leave. The map was seized as evidence in an investigation for public disruption. Ciron said when we met up at a bar that night, drowning our sorrows the moment we knew about it, we changed it. The map's useless now, but he was wrong. 3 days later, on October 18th, there was a fire in Fremont. An apartment building, 37 people died. The map hadn't predicted a fire in Fremont, but you know what it had predicted for October 15th? 347 casualties. 347, 37 times 10. No, wait, that doesn't work mathematically. But then Sarah called me, her voice frantic. Marcus checked the map, the original photograph I took before they seized it. I pulled it up on my laptop. The Pike Place marking was still there, still said October 15th, but now with the photo enhanced and brightened, I could see something I'd missed before. There were other markings, faint ones almost invisible. October 18th, Fremont fire, 37. October 22, Capitol Hill gas explosion, 52. October 29th, West Seattle Bridge collapse, 8-9. November 3rd, multiple locations, 169. Sarah, I said slowly. What if the 347 wasn't one event? What if it's cumulative? Oh God, she whispered. 37 plus 52 plus 89 plus 169, that's 347. The map wasn't wrong, Wed just read it wrong. And by evacuating Pike Place, by changing that one event, we hadn't stopped the disaster. Wed just spread it out. Wed made it worse. The gas explosion hit Capitol Hill, right on schedule. 52. The bridge collapse in West Seattle, 89 casualties, exactly as predicted, and then came November 3rd. We tried to warn people, we really did, but nobody would listen. We were the crazy people with the fake map who'd caused mass panic. Sarah managed to get in touch with Dr. Voss, who'd continued studying the map in police custody. There's more, Voss said over the phone, and I could hear the terror in her voice. I found more writing, hidden writing, that only appears under UV light. Do you want to know what it says? Yes, Sarah, and I said simultaneously. The map does not predict disasters. The map causes them. Each observation feeds it. Each death marks it. When 347 souls are claimed, the map updates. The cycle continues. We tried to destroy it in 1889. The fire took the city instead. We tried to bury it. It returned. You cannot stop what has already happened. You can only choose who dies. The line went dead. November 3rd wasn't one event. It was 12 separate incidents across Seattle. A car accident here, a heart attack there, a fall from a building, a drowning in the Sound, seemingly random, unconnected deaths. But when you added them all up, 169 people, exactly 169, and the map updated. I saw it myself when Detective Kowalski, desperate for answers, brought it back to the lab. Right there in front of us, new markings appeared on the paper, fresh ink, writing itself in that same spidery handwriting. New dates, new locations, new casualty counts. The total always 347, sometimes spread across weeks, sometimes concentrated in days, but always 347 deaths tied to Seattle. Why 347? Julia asked, tears streaming down her face. Why that number? Dr. Voss had a theory, the Great Seattle Fire of 1889. It destroyed 25 blocks of the city. The official casualty count was never confirmed, but estimates put it around 347. I finished, she nodded. I think someone made this map to prevent that fire. I think they tried to use it to change the future, to save those people, but instead they locked Seattle into a cycle. Every time the map updates, every time it completes its count of 347, it starts over. It's been happening for over a century, and we never noticed because the deaths looked random, natural, spread out. So what do we do? Ron demanded. How do we stop it? Voss looked at each of us. The writing says we can choose who dies. I think that means we can designate targets, we can control where the deaths occur. Are you suggesting we commit murder? Kowalski said, his hand moving toward his gun. No, Voss said quickly. I'm suggesting we find a way to end this. The map feeds on death. What if we starve it for 3 weeks? We tried everything. We attempted to burn the map. It wouldn't catch fire. We tried to tear it. The paper was tougher than steel. We locked it in a lead box and buried it in concrete. The next day it appeared back in the evidence locker, and people kept dying. The map kept counting. That's when Sarah came up with the idea, the terrible, desperate idea. What if the observer becomes the observed, she said. What if we offer ourselves? Sarah, no, I started. Listen to me, she was crying now. The map said the observer becomes the observed. We found it, we activated it, we're tied to it. Now what if we're the ones who have to pay the price? You mean sacrifice ourselves? Julia looked horrified. 5 of us, Sarah said quietly. The original team who found the map. What if we're the loophole? What if our deaths can end this cycle? Dr. Voss shook her head. You don't know that would work, but we don't know it wouldn't. Sarah countered. And if we do nothing, 347 more people die. Then 347 more. After that forever, we argued. For hours, we screamed at each other. But in the end, we all knew Sarah was right. We'd unleashed this thing. We had to try to stop it. The plan was simple. We'd make it look like an accident, a lab explosion, all 5 of us inside a tragedy, but one that might break the curse. We set it up for November 24th. We wrote letters to our families, trying to explain without sounding insane. We said our goodbyes, but the night before David broke, he couldn't go through with it. He ran. The map updated that night. I watched it happen. New marking November 23rd. David's apartment, 1 casualty. They found him the next morning, head hung himself. No note, no explanation. Now there were 4 of us. It doesn't want us to have a choice, Ron said. It wants us to suffer. It wants us to know we're going to die. He was right. Over the next week, the map marked each of our deaths. Julia, December 1st, car accident. Ron, December 4th, heart attack. Sarah, December 8th, fall from her apartment balcony. And me, December 15th, method unspecified. Julia died exactly as predicted. I was with her when it happened. We were driving to the police station to make one last attempt to destroy the map. A truck ran a red light. She died instantly. I walked away without a scratch. Ron had his heart attack 3 days later, 43 years old, perfect health. Just dropped dead at his desk. Sarah knew what was coming the night before her predicted death. She called me. Marcus, I figured it out. She said, I know how to stop it, how the map needs 347 deaths to complete its cycle. But what if we don't give it the satisfaction? What if we disrupt the pattern? Sarah, what are you talking about? My death is supposed to look like an accident, a fall. But what if it's not? What if I die a different way? What if I break the map's prediction? Sarah, please promise me you'll finish this. Promise me you'll find a way. She hung up. The next morning they found her, but she hadn't fallen from her balcony shed, overdosed on sleeping pills. Deliberate, intentional, not what the map had predicted, and the map changed. The marking for her death got crossed out, scratched over, and a new one appeared. My death date moved up December 8th, Sarah's original date. The map was adapting learning. That was 2 days ago. Today is December 7th. I'm recording this on my phone because I need someone to know what happened. I need someone to understand. Dr. Voss called me this morning. She'd made a discovery. A final piece of text on the map, hidden beneath the others, written in a different hand. I am sorry, I thought I could save them. Instead, I doomed you all. The map cannot be destroyed because it is not a thing, it is a record, a scar on reality itself. Every death feeds it, every attempt to stop it strengthens it. There is only one way to end the cycle. The mapmaker must unmake it. The mapmaker, someone created this thing in 1847. Someone who tried to prevent the Seattle fire, and instead created something worse. Something that's been killing 347 people every few months, for over 130 years. If you do the math, that's over 100,000 deaths. All because someone tried to play God with the future. I think I know who the map maker was. There's a name barely legible at the bottom corner of the map. E. Whitmore, 1847. I've been digging through historical records all day. Ephraim Whitmore, surveyor and cartographer, came to Seattle in 1846. Disappeared in 1889 during the Great Seattle Fire. Didn't die, disappeared. I think Hayes still out there. I think Hayes been watching this whole time, watching his creation kill and kill and kill, and I think I need to find him. The police still have the map and evidence, but I managed to photograph every inch of it before they took it, and I noticed something. In those photographs in the corner, in that same hidden UV light ink, there's an address. 1247 Western Avenue. It's been the same building since 1885. Currently, a storage facility in the basement of an antique shop. I'm going there tonight, December 7th. One day before the map says I'm supposed to die, if I'm right, if Whitmore is still alive, somehow still connected to this map, then maybe I can end this. Maybe the map maker can unmake what he made. If I'm wrong, well, I'll see Sarah, Ron, Julia and David again soon. But here's the thing that really scares me. The thing that's been eating at me since I saw that final message: the observer becomes the observed. I've been observing this map for 2 months now, studying it, learning its patterns, understanding how it works. What if that's the point? What if the map doesn't need Whitmore anymore? What if it needs a new map maker? What if it needs me? I can feel it sometimes, you know. When I close my eyes, I can see disasters before they happen. I can feel the earth shifting, buildings weakening, lives about to end. The map isn't just predicting the future anymore. It's showing me the future, teaching me. Tomorrow is December 8th. The day I'm supposed to die unless I become what the map needs me to be. Unless I take Whitmore's place. 347 deaths. Over and over, forever, or one death, mine tonight, on my own terms. I'm leaving this recording with Dr. Voss. If you're hearing this, it means I made my choice. If you're made my choice, if I'm dead, maybe the cycle is broken. Maybe the map will finally crumble to dust. But if I'm not, if you hear about strange predictions coming out of Seattle, if you hear about a new map that knows things it shouldn't, then I failed, and God help us all. Because the map is patient, the map is hungry, and the map is never ever wrong. It's 11:47 p.m. I'm standing outside 1247 Western Avenue. The door to the basement is open. I can see stairs leading down into darkness, and I can hear something down there. Someone laughing. Oh God. Hayes been waiting for me. The map knew it, always knew. This isn't the end of the cycle. This is just my turn to become. Recording ends. 3 days after Marcus Webb's disappearance, a new map surfaced in Seattle. It looks exactly like the old one, same paper, same ink, same impossible predictions, but this one is signed at the bottom, M. Webb 2025, and the first marking January 7, 2026. Your city, 347 casualties. The cycle continues.